Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Day Trading with Nuke, and let's roll right into it. Today is Wednesday, November the 7th, and I've got a short watch list for you today. 4 tickers, NEO, CRON, Square, and AMD. We're going to have a real simple breakdown today, trying something a little bit new. So we traced the NEO back a little bit, set in only one trend line, and that's going to be a resistance line. So what I'm looking for with this thing, it's if you look on the 4-hour chart, this thing has been in a downtrend, and we had a little bit of pop, but we're still well below the 200, and we're hovering right here on the 50 and the 20. But the order that they're falling in, everything is indicating downtrend, so I am banking on short for this. So as long as it holds underneath the resistance trend line, we're looking at this thing possibly hitting around $6.05. If it breaks above the resistance trend line, expect that it could test the pre-market high today at $6.75, and if it manages to break out of this, jumping on up around $7.10. But it's shown good potential over the past few days, and you can see it's just been tanking, even though it had a good run-up pre-market yesterday, it quickly just fell back down flat on its face. So looking for what we've got going on today, I just see more of the same, really. It really doesn't even, you got to scrunch the chart for it to even look decent. And at the price potential being only $6.40 right now, it's a very affordable ticker to play. Next one up is going to be Kron, one of the weed stocks. And scrunching this down, we'll look across. Kron had, generally speaking, was on an uptrend for yesterday, and it kind of held that. It broke below a little bit, then it climbed back up above. But Kron, is weed stock. It's all over the place. So it had jumped up over the 200, and then it falls flat on its face. We really don't know the future of these things with legislation and everything else, but we do know they move a lot. But as you can see in the last week or so, Kron has been on a steady uphill climb. It had that spike there yesterday, but what's killing us on this 4-hour chart, the same thing like on the daily, is we're creeping up into this 200 EMA range. And you can see we're getting ourselves a nice little wedge pattern going here. So it really could go either way. If it breaks above yesterday's, like the high of day around there at 959-ish, which is also our pre-market high of day, if it can get above that and hold that, expect to see the support trend line valid. We could see it jump on up almost, was it about 75 cents to $10.28. You never know. As much as it had growth, if it does decide to jump up and run, you could see this thing jump all the way up around 11, maybe 11 and a half. But if it can't manage to hold this growth and it falls below this resistance trend line, I would expect to see it at least test the low of day around 891. And if it doesn't manage to break above that after that, see this thing tank to around 823. It's had a solid run at it, but looking at the difference between where our 20 and our 50 is and where our 200 is, I'd expect to see some consolidation in here pretty soon, especially after all the profits made on this thing yesterday. So next up, and second to last, is going to be Square. Looking at Square, we'll scrunch it down so you can see it, and there we go. This thing had some pretty decent movement yesterday. You see it was basically holding an uptrend, and then it broke down below it for a little bit, and it couldn't get back up above, right? Couldn't get it up. But in the pre-market action today, this thing gapped up slightly from around 77.50 to a 79.16, about 75 cents gap up. Currently, it's set in a lower high, but, if this thing manages to break and hold above the pre-market high of around 79.25, you'd see about a $2 profit, or is it 3? Yeah, 2, 3. I can't add, guys. Y'all know that. But anyway, up around here, I'd realistically could expect to see the price action. If it breaks up but not cleanly and then falls down below this slowly degrading trend line, And you see on the 4-hour chart how that looks as we're capping off here. We've got all of this resistance up at the 200, and we've got the 50 and the 20 down here. But we got mixed signals. So I'm not sure on the direction on this thing, guys. Basically, follow the trend lines. If it breaks above, expect it to go up. If it can't hold that and it breaks out low, then play it on down. The low side has significantly more potential to it than the upside. So you should be able to see that here. That's my take on it. And my next one up is going to be AMD. Everybody's sweetheart, everybody hates her. So you're perfectly okay if you love to hate her. You're not going to be alone. So I know this looks like kind of a weird trend line having a support that's running on top of some of the price action, but bear with me here, right? When this thing finally broke out, yeah, yesterday's trend lines would have been valid here. They would be, and then when it finally caught itself again, you know, you kind of got this micro trend line. But all in all, if you look at it on like a total view, the way I kind of envision this thing is overall this thing's been on a steady uptrend. You had a slight correction, ascending triangle, it breaks out. You had a hell of a day yesterday, and then it kind of consolidated again. So kind of like that Elliott wave pattern going, where you would have one wave and then it corrects, then you have, well, one wave, then it corrects, a big wave and a correct, and then a third wave to correct. And I think now we're getting ready that if this thing doesn't break out in a major way, we're going to see a correction back down to around 1980. So what does that actually look like? Well, you can see right here, we're already breaking up top. So if it can retest this and hold above this downward resistance trend line, then yeah, I could see this thing bumping on up around 2197. But with the distance we have between where we're at and the 200 and the proximity we have, I think it's ready to catch itself a little steam. But you never know. They can go any way. It's going to depend on what the SPY does. If it breaks down below that trend line and the support line, you can see you've got a lot more room on the downside to cover than you do on the upside. So it just depends. Let's watch it as it gets closer to the morning action. That's my 4. Of course, you got the blue chips in play. Apple's had some good stuff going on. And what's that other one I marked out there? Facebook. Facebook had a little bit of both of them. Facebook and Apple had a reasonable gap up during the pre-market hours. And both of them have been steadily trying to close that gap back downward. So I'm not going to break down those for you. They kind of create their own weather pattern. But anyway, that's what I got, and I'm sending it out to you guys. As always, tune in, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. We're going to be doing some thank you stuff this weekend, Friday at noon, Friday at 5 p.m., Saturday at noon, Saturday at 5 p.m. Basically, a thank you webinar session to the guys that have helped get me over 200 subscribers. We'll be doing some Q&A mentoring. Just a general chat session. We'll answer some questions and kind of, feel things out. It's open to 100 persons per each session. So early bird gets the worm. No penalty for doing all 4. I'll see you guys soon. Later.